You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in Asia Scarlett-Jones, family and matrimonial attorney in the New York City metropolitan area, founder and managing partner of ASJ Law. How are you?
I am good. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm super pumped to have you. And I want to just point out the incredible view in the background. That is
New York City, baby.
That is New York City, y'all. Love it.
I'm excited.
Miss it there. Love it. I used to take the Metro North over to the Yankee games when I lived in New Haven. So yeah, there was a stop right there. Totally cool. So really excited to have you. We featured you on Lawyer Stories a couple weeks back. It was May 27th. You appeared on our feed. So let's just start from the beginning. Just tell us where you're born and raised.
So I am from New York City, born and raised, a true New Yorker. Awesome. And yeah, that's it. New York City.
All right, cool. So, and you ended up practicing there. You went to Hofstra Law. We're going to back it up a little bit, but just, to show you went to law school in state and then you ended up practicing in state. So that's probably helpful. Would you say that was helpful to you?
You know what? Funny story. I actually started at University of Buffalo Law School and transferred into Hofstra my last 2 years. So I graduated from Hofstra, and definitely being from New York City, graduating from New York State schools is super beneficial. You definitely meet a lot of New Yorkers along the way.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
And you went to SUNY Albany too, right?
Yes. Yep.
I applied there back in the day. I liked it. I took the walk around. I mean, I tried to stay closer to where I'm from, but it's got those 4 pillars of buildings. And
yes, the top, and the beautiful fountain. So I graduated from and again, funny story. I like to transfer. Apparently, I started college at Fredonia State, which is also in New York, but further upstate. And then I transferred into University of Albany, and I loved it, definitely.
That's awesome. It looked like a super cool,
beautiful school.
So to jump right into it, your lawyer story, really interesting. You tell us about a teacher that you had in high school, and tell us about Miss Peters. Was she your first mentor? Would you say?
You know what? In hindsight, yeah. Yeah, she was. So we had a few classes with her, debate classes, and then she started up a mock trial team because she saw an interest in a lot of students.
Yep.
And she really took it and just ran with it. And a few of my classmates, funny enough, I think Richie Torres, I think he's a councilman in the Bronx. It's just crazy to see now, so many years later, the effect she had on us. But yeah, she started a debate team, and we had a sponsor from a local firm in New York City, funny enough, right? And we went into an office to pretty much prep, and it's pretty much the lawyers, they donate their time, just to help students.
High school
kind of prep.
Too, right?
High school students going into New York City to prep for the mock trials. Awesome. And the office was amazing.
Right.
I've never seen anything like this before. Glass windows and doors, and it was awesome. And it had this, and it's this really big conference room.
Yep.
And it's just for us, it's snacks, free food, but it's amazing because they were really serious. And we had to stand at the podium, and obviously we all know you can be a litigator, or you don't have to litigate, but the idea of litigating is it's an art. And that was where I was oh, I like this. I like the feel of it.
You like this. So was the view anything like yours though?
It was sick. It was yes. And it's now, wow, this is crazy. Sick view. I loved it.
That's awesome. So do you tell us about the exact moment when you were there? You were, I remember reading you were really taken back by the firm. like you just said, and like, did you have a moment like it wasn't just the firm, like the niceties of the firm, like you liked the feeling of advocating?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. At that point, it's funny. I thought I was going to be a choreographer, totally different path. And my dad was like, I don't know, that's the best idea. I was like, oh. But then it's just like, you know what? I like the idea of definitely looking at a set of facts and trying to help someone. That's pretty much what we do all day, right? Our mind just works totally different. It can be annoying to some, but to most is beneficial. But that's just how I liked the idea. I liked how it felt, and I just wanted to help. I knew I didn't want to be a doctor because I can't stand the sight of blood. So I was like, okay, how else can I help? And really like hone in on my, skills of wanting to debate all the time. So I went for it, and I was like, I think I want to be a lawyer. And Miss Peters, I mean, I cannot, like, I wish I could, give her a hug. Like,
well, I was going to say, like,
I know, I have to find her. She's a lawyer, so I'm sure.
She's a lawyer.
My first name.
She
wrote me a letter of recommendation for college.
Did she really? I think we should feature Miss Peters.
I have to find Miss Peters. She's amazing, so patient, so kind. She had a few classes in high school, different like legal classes, and it was super important. So when I went to college, I knew I was going to be a lawyer. So I was like, okay, this is easy.
Oh, that's cool. So you basically took classes that were like legal interested. Like I was a legal studies major at UMass Amherst. I loved it.
Nice.
So you probably did like some of those similar classes that geared you towards the legal profession. So like, what was you went to Hofstra Law, you ended up there. So what was your law school experience like, would you say?
You know what? It was actually a little different than most because I was actually my first year in law school. Towards the end of my first semester, I actually was pregnant with my son.
Your first year in law school?
First year in law school. First year in law school, my husband and I were expecting, and I was pregnant my first year. I gave birth my first summer. I was a rising 2-0. Okay. And then I had my son. So I was definitely in a panic because everyone was like, they had their summer jobs. And I'm like, oh my God. It worked out well. I still graduated on time and with my graduating class, but law school was different. And then I transferred to Hofstra. And that was definitely different. And I came in as a 2L with a baby. So it was a lot of work.
You have to bring your baby to class. I mean, it's so hard. I have a very young family. I have a 3.5-year-old and we have a 7-month-old. So I can't imagine like being a law student. Like, I mean, I'm tired enough, like with basically 2 jobs now. So.
I think I'm definitely still tired. I haven't slept in over 10 years.
You're still tired from law school.
I'm still tired from just that experience and then just being a mom. But definitely coming in with a baby. He didn't come to class with me, but Hofstra has a daycare like within the vicinity. So I would just like, drop him off, go to class. It worked out well. It was hard, but it worked out well. But it was different. I would say.
The practice must be like a piece of cake to you now that you.
I got it down pat. I have 2 kids now. So I added on.
Boys or girls? Both.
Two boys.
All right, boy, mom. Cool. So like, all right. So you went to law. The experience that's an interesting challenge that you had there. A lot of people, for me, like Socratic method, didn't love it, like that sort of thing, and But so, what's your advice for a law student who isn't quite sure what area of law they should go into?
My advice would be definitely try it all. I would tell any law student when you walk in that door, don't be too married to one thing. It's odd, and I thought I was too. I mean, I went from wanting to be a corporate attorney to a criminal attorney, and I ended up doing family law. But try everything. You don't know what you don't like until you try it. And law school is a place to kind of do that. I don't think there's enough emphasis on that. I think we get really tied down to wanting to do one area of law. And sometimes it's hard to get out of that area once you really, really get, boggled down in it.
Yeah, no, I think that totally makes a lot of sense. So like, what was your first job out of law school like?
So actually, funny enough, I worked with a solo practitioner, Mary Catherine Brown, and she was a family law, and still is, family law matrimonial attorney. And then I tried some per diem and like bankruptcy and like foreclosure.
Really? You mean per diem, like while you were working for the solo?
While I was still working with her, I did both.
So did she know you were doing stuff on the side?
Like, she encouraged it. I mean, she's awesome. Like, definitely. Yeah. I'm very grateful to have been surrounded by so many like powerful attorneys that really pushed me. But she said, try it. Same thing. Try it. You never know what you don't like until you know. You try it. But I did that for a bit, and then I was like, I like this. It's a bit confusing and a little intimidated.
Did you have anybody showing you how to do it, or did you just say
I did. Like, she would have helped me, and she started out doing foreclosures as well. But I would go to King Supreme, and obviously this is before COVID, but it was like a zoo. Like, so many attorneys, everyone's yelling and screaming and shouting out things and writing a number on the board. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And then she was like, hey, come with me to family court and, let's get your feet wet here. And then she kept giving me work, and she's like, do you like it? I was like, actually, I do. I kind of like this. And I did like an adoption, and that was like super like fulfilling. Awesome. And then I helped her with custody cases and her divorce cases. And then after that, I was like, I think I kind of want to try like some public interest. Okay. And then I went to legal aid, which is like a whole different
in the family law department at legal aid.
Yep, family law. I did that for a while in Nassau County, and that was just, it's indescribable. I mean,
many people, like, not enough attorneys. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, absolutely. Not enough attorneys. Definitely overwhelming. But I loved, like, it sounds crazy, but I loved all my coworkers. We had a good time. I guess we bonded over trauma. Being in legal aid, but it was a great experience. It really helped me a lot. Honestly, it was a very, it set the trajectory of my career because you're just thrown into the fire. That's it, with those cases, a heavy caseload. I did that for a couple of years, and then I left that and I became a court attorney, still in family law, to a judge in Nassau County Family Court. And that's, again, totally different.
So a court attorney, like working in court? Like,
side by side with the judge. Yeah, totally different. Again, like
you have some incredible experience that, like, that attorneys wish they could get into those type of.
Oh, it was crazy. Thank you. Yeah, I've tried a lot. I definitely have. Court attorney, definitely, another fulfilling job. Because you kind of get to see the other side of the bench. I was litigating, and now I'm on the other side helping write decisions and, conferencing cases. And, that was awesome. I did that for a few years. I truly, truly loved that job just as much as I loved litigating. I felt like, I was able to help families in a different way. Right. Like I could very, candid with attorneys and parties, and it was great. I did that, and then I left, and then that's when I ventured into private practice.
Okay.
At a firm.
So your own private practice at this time?
Nope. Okay. I didn't even go there first. Wow. I didn't go there first. I was like, you know what? Let me try private practice because I don't know anything about a billable hour. So let me go there first. And then I did that for a little bit. And I like that too. I definitely learned the value of having like private clients versus the clients that are assigned to you in the court. Right. Not the same whatsoever. It was a bit intimidating at first, but then you just build the connection with your clients like any other, job. And I did that for a while. And then eventually the pandemic hit. And then I was like, okay, I don't know how I feel about this. And then I felt like I had like a moment, like most people in 2020, it's just like the world was crazy. And at that point, instead of staying with my very well-paying private job, and my boss was great, the partner, he was very smart, very, very smart matrimonial attorney. I took everything I could from him, and I was like, I have to go. It's time to venture out on my own and practice law the way I want to see law, especially family law, done. I didn't think I could help the way I wanted to do.
You've done so much. So mentors would you say that mentors helped you along the way? And if yes, what is the importance of mentors?
You know what? I think mentors, because I've been on both sides, a mentee, mentor, and I think it's so important because it's a little intimidating sometimes, right? Like lawyers, oftentimes it's like you don't know how to approach it. You never want to seem as if you don't know because we're expected to know everything at all times. But I've had some really, really good mentors that really poured into me. But I also realized mentorship is really what you make of it. And most recently, I found that out, now practicing in New York City, I picked up a lot of mentors and it was like shocking to, really receive it. And just having others see something in me that I didn't see myself. So that's why I think a good mentor, like a really good mentor, is really important for every attorney in every stage of your career.
It's amazing. And by the way, like why you mentioned New York City, I've come across a lot of attorneys in New York City through Lawyer Stories, and I'm always be happy to connect you with anybody you ever see that I know on Lawyer Stories. Make a warm introduction. If you see somebody that you feel you need to connect with, or you would be a good fit, like I'd love to do that. That's what I like to do here. So
amazing. I would love that.
Yeah, you just let me know. So you said during the pandemic you were sort of like, okay, I need to go out on my own. Like it was a crazy time in 2020. Mm-hmm. Was there like one particular thing that you said, okay, I'm ready to go on my own?
You know what, Benjamin? It's wild. When I think back, I felt like it was just so much, but I think the pivotal moment, and not to like be super morbid, is that everyone around me was just like, everyone was like dying and it was crazy. One of the partners at the firm I worked in had passed away from COVID. And before he passed, like he just was, he's super old school attorney, but you had to appreciate it. Like, just like, yeah, you practice law a little differently than we do now, but I loved his spirit, his energy. And I liked the potential he saw in me. And I knew at that moment, working from home and having children, as you know, was very difficult.
Yes.
And we became teachers and, lawyers on the side. It's like, oh my God.
You have to work full time.
And you have to work full time. Yeah. And I was like, how am I going to balance all of this? And it's just like, it was insane. Like, I think we still kind of are like processing it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was a time in our lives where like nobody really knew. I mean, because I would have had weekly meetings with my staff if I knew it wasn't going to be 2 or 3 weeks. It ended up being like a year.
A year.
I don't think anybody, even employers, really knew how to handle it.
No, now in hindsight, you really had to give grace to a lot the employees, employers. Like no one really knew what was going to happen, but for some odd reason, I took this strange leap of faith at this time. Like I'm really like sometimes a little too impulsive. I'm just like, you know what? I think I want to try something different. I didn't want to practice law like in a private practice in that setting, because when you have children, you need that flexibility. And I felt like the pandemic really opened my eyes to, I don't want to sit in an office like until 10 o'clock at night anymore. Like, I don't want to do that. Like,
Oh, you were doing that? Not at legal aid though, right?
Oh, no. Well, no.
Maybe you were, but like, there are like these
no way.
I've seen these memes. I have a quasi-governmental job.
Yeah.
But I do see these memes that are like, they poke fun at us like people working at the government. It's kind of funny, but
You're totally different, right? Like you're not like, and listen, I'll say this because my boss may see this, my old boss may see this, but he wasn't awful. I will say that. He was pretty good. Funny enough, he was pretty good to be like, such a seasoned attorney. I think he was starting to realize that life was changing for us all. And he had a child that he wanted to get home to. But, I really did. I liked the idea of private practice. I just wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be present. I felt like in 2020, it really showed me life was too short. And I was so like afraid that what if I didn't do enough? So in October 2020, I said, you know what, ASJ Law Office, here we come. And I started my practice.
So let's talk about ASJ Law. So did you have concerns during COVID? Like how did you drum up business and start to do that when you launched?
Benny is the craziest thing ever. You're not even gonna believe if I tell you this. Like, I'm actually not gonna what. I quit, obviously. And of course he didn't want to see me go, but I had one client who I had at that practice, and he was like, I'm going with you. And he did. And I was like, my first client. And then like 2 weeks later, I got another client. And then 3 weeks later, I got another and another and another. And it just started picking up.
Where do you think they came from? Was it the internet? Was it
everywhere? Like my friends, my family, like colleagues, referrals, online, social media. It just was so much like, you know, and it wasn't like in passing because it sounds kind of weird, but I got some really good clients, like clients that really like, you know, like you can engage. And I think we've all had like pretty crappy clients, so we know, but really good clients. And they just kept coming and coming. And for a while, it was weird because my accountant was like, you know, first year, most people don't do that great. And, you know, you're probably going to make this amount. And then at the end of the year, he was like, I was like, I told you I was going to do good. so he was like, wow, like, you know, and I was just like, I definitely super blessed. And I was very nervous because it's COVID and I'm just like, courts were closed and we were virtual.
Yeah, you were just I mean, it must have been like, wow, I'm getting paid and I'm talking to this person over the screen. And I don't even
I've never shaken some of my clients' hands like in person, but they like trusted me. We had great conversations, you know, and we all know after COVID and kind of being locked in the house, divorce attorneys, you kind of like picked up a lot of work.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question about divorce, actually. I don't know why I was thinking. So like, what do you see in terms of like the major like reason people to get divorced?
Benny, the craziest thing sometimes, you know, it ranges from like, you know, serious allegations to just like, you know, I want to start a second life and I don't want you in that second life.
Oh, okay.
It ranges. Now at this point, it's just that people want to live their lives. Honestly, that's what comes into me. And I really do try to push people to settle. Well, I've always wanted that, but now more so, because you have the right to live your life however you want to. And
or are you taking are you taking more like women or men or like, how are you?
My clientele is crazy. If I laid it out, you wouldn't even believe it. I have it ranges in ages, gender, race, like it's all over the map. Some with kids, some without children. Different, you know, different stages of life with lots of assets, no assets. Like, you know, it's so many and it's really good. And that's why I wanted my own practice, is to get that experience. The way you would speak to one client, you cannot address another. Like you just have to hone those skills on, you know your audience. So
do you still have a go-to mentor that you call in case?
Everyone. I stalk everyone I've ever known. I send them text messages constantly, but definitely one of the other partners from my last firm, I stalk her constantly. She's great. My first boss, Mary, I send her messages. Anyone, all new solos too.
You know, I had maybe in the first 20 episodes, I had another divorce attorney from Manhattan, and I want to connect you with him. I don't know if that'll do you anything, but
of course,
it'd be cool. Like he's a cool guy, and you know, I wrote his name down on my paper. So
connect.
So like, why family law?
So I anticipated this question. I wasn't sure how I was going to answer it, but for privacy purposes, I won't say the person's name, but many years ago, before I actually even went to law school, I had a friend, and he had a child, and he was going through a really, really, really bad situation, like with the child's mom. And it was so bad. And I tried to help as much as I could with what little skills I had learned from high school, I guess, and college, but I couldn't help. And I felt like there was just such an injustice surrounding like this idea that when you go to family court is really just geared towards moms. And I didn't like that feeling of trying to explain that to someone else. So I tried. Unfortunately, it didn't work out well in his favor, but I took that to heart and I kind of carried that throughout my whole entire legal career. Like if I could help someone else, you know, not end up in that situation or make better decisions to avoid that, then I would. And that was also a big part of going into private practice and having my own law firm, because now I can do that, right? I have the complete autonomy to do it. So I want to touch these families and explain, like, everything doesn't have to be so contentious. Like, you know, that's something I really pride myself on. I don't walk in the door, guns blazing, like, oh my God, like, I don't like that type of lawyering. I want people to understand this is your family forever. And we as attorneys, we walk away and the judges walk away, and you have to live with one another. And I don't want to walk into someone's life and mess it up. And I've met a lot of crappy attorneys who do that. Really? And absolutely. And I try not to be. And
so what do you mean? Like, what will they do, like, specifically that mess up?
Just very aggressive litigating. You know, I think that's what, like I said earlier, we're trained to do that as litigators. People just assume that. And it doesn't have to be that way. Like, we can have a conversation, right? Because we are removed from this. Like, don't take it that personal. So just settle. Like, that's a big thing to me. Like, what do you want your life to look like 10 years from now, right? Do you want to, you can pay me all of the money in the world, but it's not going to change the fact that you still have these children or a child with this other person. Right. You know, just not that aggressive lawyering. I just don't think it's as effective. And I think it's also a waste of resources for most families. And even if you have the resources, why waste your time? You know, life is just too short. So the family law is really dear to me. I try to get rid of it and I just can't. I gotta help.
Sounds like you're very compassionate and you really want to
definitely find. I want to make a difference.
A nice even keel with your clients and help them through a very difficult situation.
Absolutely.
That's great. So give us some words of wisdom for a young attorney.
You know, I wish if I could really, like, I don't think anything has happened to me in life that I regret, even the good and the bad. Like, it doesn't matter. It happened for a reason. Stay positive. I think I would have told myself a little bit more of that, like, just positive energy. What's meant to be will be. And never really look at what someone else is doing and try to rush to get there, right? Everyone has his course and appreciate yours. Right, the good, the bad.
Everybody has a story, right?
They do, and that's why.
If all of our stories were the same,
everyone would be the same. Stories. Right, exactly, right? And that's what makes this so great, and that's why I had to do this. I'm like, I love the idea of all the attorneys that come on, they share their stories, and it's crazy, right? Like, crazy stories. It's like, wow, you know? So everyone has a story. Own it, appreciate it, and enjoy it.
I think owning it is like much more key.
Right.
Than people think.
Absolutely.
Owning who you are, your story. Mm-hmm. You know, don't let any cracks in there. Don't let anybody, penetrate that with negativity.
And it's very easy.
I think it's so important. I think own it is a really big concept that a lot of people don't understand how big that is. So
definitely own your own story. Yeah. You are the author of your own story. Just own it, and it's okay. Like,
that's it. Do you know we were going to make hats that said "Own Your Story"? I swear, I was going to make hats that say "Own Your Story."
You should. That's so on brand.
So, what's the hardest part of owning your own practice?
The business side, not the lawyering. I got the lawyering down packed. It's the business side and just kind of making sure dot your I's and cross your T's, and learning that is exciting but scary. But I think most business owners, after a while, they just appreciate like owning your own company and making your own rules. And that's pretty hard, just making sure. And like trying not to mix the two. Like, I do feel really bad sometimes when my clients like, just please, like, just understand, like, I know I'm a lawyer, and most lawyers, you think they just want your money. It's not that I don't. It's just that I want you to settle your case. Right. And then like my accountant's like, that's just not how lawyering is supposed to work in business. I'm like, what? Yeah. So changing hats like often, but it's been a good, almost 2 years. So
amazing. Congratulations. So how have you been adjusting after the pandemic?
It's been a bit hard, I would say, not being in like a courtroom as much. My entire career, I've been in a courtroom, interacting with other lawyers. Recently, this year, I think May 11th was the first time I've been back to court since 2020.
Wow.
Yep.
That was a month ago. That was a month ago of this recording. It's
crazy, right? Yeah. Right. That's the first time. And it was back in Nassau County Family Court where I laughed pretty much. I was like, But they welcomed me with open arms. And I mean, it was like riding a bike. It was like, once I got in, I was gone. So that's been the hardest part, to be quite honest, is not having this, like, you know, in person and connection, and litigating virtually. Like, it's not the same. Like,
that's interesting. Like, could you imagine some of the backgrounds that people could put up while, like, the Supreme Court, or, like, you know, they're litigating virtually? Maybe they have, like,
insane.
I would have wished I could have seen it.
Oh my God, like, and like the bad things too, like in the car, like driving, in the house, in the bed. I'm like,
in bed. I saw it. Florida's crazy like that, right? So you see that in the news. Anyway, so ASJ Law, you're crushing it, like doing matrimonial, family, like, congratulations. Tell us what the next 5-10 years brings for you.
You know what, Benny? I'm going to really push for mediation now. Right?
Oh, crazy. I like it.
Crazy. Yeah. I'm actually doing a training, an intense training. But I'm pushing for mediation. I really want to change that. I think litigation is great. I don't mind it. You know, when it works, it works. But then there are times where it doesn't. But I want people to sit down and have a conversation like adults, right? And like not keep you hiring us to do something that, you know, is not as effective all the time. But I think people need to have a conversation with one another, like parents. So I'm really pushing to really, you know, get out there with that mediation. And hopefully that would be a bigger component of ASJ Law Office than the litigation side. And it's going to sound even crazier, but I want to have ASJ Law Office all over.
Why is that crazy?
Not just in New York. I want it to be in all places.
We'll introduce you to everybody here at Lawyer Stories.
Right, like just tell everyone about me. You know, pass around my name.
Have you gotten on our listserv yet?
Yes.
Okay,
I get the emails.
Don't say how many emails you're getting yet, right here. But you know, anyway, that was just a question. That's a yes or no question. All right.
Both.
All right, but yes, we are happy to do that. So that's, I think I see that happening. I mean, you know, expand, go
definitely
different places, right?
Got to touch everyone everywhere. So I want to definitely help families, not just in New York or the tri-state area, just all over. Mediation's important. We need it now.
Asia, what has being a lawyer taught you?
Oof. You know, patience. Definitely patience. Because not everyone will see things the way I see it. And that's in so many different areas, the judge, the other lawyer, my client. So patience and, you know, appreciating family, especially in family law. You know, there are many, many nights when I'm like, wow, there are a lot of issues out there with families. And, you know, I can, you know, it's all relative, but at the same time, it has taught me a lot. And just appreciating those around me and being cognizant and being present. Lawyering is hard. It's hard. Yeah. It's a lot of work. It's not a joke. It's very serious. Nothing to, you know, take lightly. So I'm very appreciative just to have this opportunity to do it and to do it the way I now want to. So I definitely try to maximize life at this point, being an attorney and mom and wife.
So tell us one thing, like, not on your resume, not on your lawyer resume, that you like to do. Any hobbies?
Okay, I like to be an interior designer, right? So
yeah, all right.
I'm like really obsessed with like YouTube. Really? Yeah, I got it pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Like I watch.
So what do you like to design? What kind of rooms?
You know, everywhere in my house at this point. I'm not allowed to touch the man cave, but
the man cave. All right.
Little subtle ideas, like, you know, I drop hints, but everywhere, like my children's bedroom, the bathrooms, the primary bedrooms, like I just love it. It's such a great distraction.
Yeah.
An expensive hobby, but a great distraction. If I'm not doing that, I'm definitely like, you know, probably just hanging out with my kids. You know, they get old so fast, and I know.
How old are they now?
Oh my goodness, going to be 10 and 6.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, they're getting there, and they need their mom now. So between interior designing and then being a mom, I'm pretty swamped.
No, it sounds like you're busy night and day.
I know, right?
What advice would you give a lawyer wanting to launch their own firm?
Oof. Take your time, do your research, and really set up a plan before you really go for it. I took my time. I took a lot of time, watch a lot of videos, CLEs. I spoke to a lot of people. I really pulled my resources, set a plan, and I wasn't afraid to ask for help. And that ties into the advice I had earlier. Use the people around you. Really, really believe in yourself. And if you're gonna do it right. And don't be afraid to fail. You're gonna make mistakes. Just take it with a grain of salt sometimes, and just be transparent with yourself. It sounds weird, but not a lot of people are. Don't, be honest. Like, I probably can't do this. Let me outsource. That's my favorite word, outsource. Who can I hire to do this?
Because you want to delegate it here and there.
Delegate. It's all good. It's all good. Like, I tried to do everything in the beginning by myself, and I was like, oh my God, answering the phone, going, I was like, I can't do this. Take your time, make a plan where, each month or quarter, where you want to see your practice. There are so many resources out there, like New York State Bar, New York City Bar, if it's in New York, but really make a plan and have a purpose. Have a purpose. So
awesome advice. Did we leave anything out tonight, Asia?
No, I never get to talk this much about myself. So.
It was fantastic. Do you have any other advice or anything you want to say to the Lawyer Stories community?
I think this is an awesome thing.
Thank you.
I definitely 100% stalk your page because I love seeing other lawyers.
Oh, that's so nice.
I love it. I truly, truly do. I love seeing other lawyers just out there thriving. Like, it's a tough job, like I said. And the stories are crazy sometimes. I'm just like, wow, this person came from here. They did this and they changed. Like, it's definitely motivating to hear these stories. So this is great. Like, this is such a great opportunity for any lawyer that wants to do this.
And thanks so much. It's a pleasure to talk to you and to connect with you. And
Same.
If we could ever help you in any way, I know we'll stay in touch because we have a lot of cool stuff coming up, and I want you to be a part of it. So, we thank you. We thank you so much, and we look forward to the release of the podcast. So keep crushing it at ASJ Law.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Looking forward to see where you go. Stay right there. And everybody else, thanks for tuning in wherever you are in the world today. Enjoy yourselves. Cheers.